Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another PCM webinar from wherever you're joining us. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us. Today's webinar for me is about one of the most interesting and fast-moving areas of the payments industry. We've got two expert speakers who are going to be talking all about migrating payments and payment services to the cloud, which I think we can all agree is a very hot topic in the industry right now, and plenty of people looking to find out about the experiences around that type of migration and the product set behind it. First of all, I just need to do a little bit of housekeeping. The initial point here is that if you're experiencing any technical issues, then please just either put a question into the interface you're using and wait, or just hang tight. We have got a technical team, and anyone that's experiencing problems, they will get to you and help you get onto the cast so you can hear and see. Secondly, this is a live webinar, and it's also being recorded, again, for your convenience. At the end, once we've had both speakers, there'll be a live Q&A session. You are able, from your web browser, to add questions to the speakers. If there is a specific question for a speaker or a specific question about a slide that you have seen, please just make sure that you note that number down or the name down so that we can quickly reference who to answer the question, or indeed what slide you are talking about. Finally, all of the collateral that you see today, the webinar itself and the presentation, will be provided as a recording, and the collateral that is associated with it will be sent out to anyone that attended, so you can review again and indeed send on to your colleagues. Finally, I'd like to introduce our two speakers. They're both very experienced in the market, and I urge you at the end to take advantage of them being on the line and ask your questions. Firstly, we have Mikko Nurminen, who's the Sales Director at Enfuce, and secondly, we have Julian Farley, who's Head of New Business at OpenWay. And now I'm going to leave it to the professionals and hand over to Mikko. Mikko, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, and hello everyone. So my name is Mikko Nurminen, and I'm coming from the Enfuce Financial Services. So let's take first a quick glance on the consumer's expectations and requirements in today's world. I think the globalization is no news for anyone. We have the big companies like Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, and those, say, dominating the world today. They very much drive the expectations on the consumer side. And so the financial sector is actually no more any different from that one. The consumer expectations are getting higher and higher every day. What you can do, how you can do it in your mobile, it needs to be fast, instant, available 24/7, and all that. When we then think just briefly that how those expectations can be met, so essentially in the financial services, that will mean that you have to be agile, you have to be very fast, i.e. the time to market, and then essentially, because we are talking about the regulated business, so you have to have a lot of expertise in doing that one. In addition, really to get those things in place, I would claim that the collaboration and ecosystem thinking are the essential drivers there behind as well, that you can launch the innovative new business services, financial services there. When we look on Enfuce and what we have done together with OpenWay is exactly to meet those requirements of the consumers for today's world. So our mission is to enable the change and innovation within the payment industry. And one key thing in order to achieve that one is do the things truly differently versus, say, the old way of doing. And one key factor there has been that we have implemented all of our services into a public cloud and still being compliant and serving the financial industry as expected. Enfuce is established by 5 banking professionals who have everyone, say, 10 to 20 years experience, either from like a CIO in the bank as an example, or from a service provider, or from a systems integrator, or a solution developer for the banks. At the moment, we have more than 50 experts in our company located in 3 different countries, and essentially from the day one, we have been saying both cash flow positive as well as profitable from the business perspective. And there's been significant growth happening over the 3.5 years journey what we have had with the company. We are highly value driven as well. Collaboration, that certainly is one of the key values for us, both of course with the partners and customers, but internally in the company as well, that needs to be in place. Sustainability, we don't think that is only from the environmental perspective, but it's from the business perspective as well. So the business needs to be kind of a long-lasting basis available there. Think big, whatever we start to do, we want that to grow. It's not only do kind of a small things and leave them behind, but have the opportunities on everything you do. And of course, the excellence at last, so that it's nice to be the best in everything what you start doing. And that we promote a lot in the company as well. What are then the services we offer? So today we will focus mainly on the Enfuce payment services, so we can offer as a service the entire account life cycle for you. We manage the card issuing, acquiring, and the payments processing as a service. In addition, we do the open banking services. We have built the regulatory PSD2 APIs for banks, as well as we have the PSD2 connectivity hub, i.e. by making one integration towards our platform, you can connect to all the European banks having the PSD2 interfaces open. And in addition to those, we have the Enfuce business services, essentially fraud and dispute management, so that we can support you, for instance, in everything you do with your cards, so including the back office functions. How we do this essentially? So basically there are 5 key things how we differ from the others. Yes, we give our expertise at your hand. Like I said, that we have basically all the personnel at the moment working for us are having long experience in the financial industry, and yes, they are happy to help and create the new cases for you. We will help you to see out the new opportunities, and yes, key factors there are the agility, time to market, and innovation. We have said basically that no project is too small for us, and no project is too big for us either. Scalability certainly is on place there with the cloud approach. We'll have a few more words about that later on in the presentation. And then I think the time to market is both essentially from the timing perspective and from the kind of financial perspective. You won't start the earnings before you are out in the marketplace. So that's really the key to manage well. And then when we are talking about the payments and the financial industry overall, the compliance is a key, and we'll manage that one for you in the services we offer. So let's then take a bit deeper look on the items that we are focusing on today. So what to really prioritize in the cloud-based payments, and what makes the things so nice on that side. One thing certainly is the time to market. We know the market is global. It might be that you are having your business today in one country, but you start planning already to expanding that to various markets. So yes, that one will be always present there, and we can support that one in a fast and scalable way through the platform and service we are operating. The other thing for the time to market or speed to market question is really the innovation and the capability to execute those things as well. The cloud enables us really to introduce the new services through new innovative concepts as part of the platform in a totally different pace as versus the traditional ways of doing the things. I won't go into the details of the technical management of the cloud, but basically the cloud technologies are enabling the versioning and all that in a totally different way versus the traditional in-house way of working. We are saying that essentially we can implement a new card issuing customer in 7 days for us, and that is based on the highly productized and standardized approach we can have for the customers. We have been migrating as well big card portfolios like up to 5 million cards in one go from another platform to our platform as a total process that can happen in say 6 weeks time, and on the next slide we'll see that actually the actual migration is taking only 3 hours. And yes, the high availability is always present there when we talk about the cloud implementations, so at least 4 nines as the standard SLA is on place. So speed to market, I would like you to remember that you can introduce even in 7 days a new card product into the service, and the new innovation can be managed in a timely manner to the platform. We'll have the examples of that one as well. The first, say, innovation proof point is that we have actually our first customer who has implemented a fully digital and mobile process to issue MasterCards. In this case, that by starting the process after having downloaded the application to your phone, in 3 minutes you can start paying with the newly issued MasterCard with your mobile or with the Apple Pay, the high value payments. So I think that's a nice example how fast you can bring and onboard new customers and start them using your services and the products, i.e. earning the money for yourself. Then the 3 hours example where we have migrated up to 5 million cards for one customer into our platform from their previous way of doing the things. So that's clearly one of the benefits of the cloud, meaning that the scalability and the capacity required for this kind of operations is present there. 3 months is an example that we have implemented the Apple Pay, and actually that one was for the first our first customer that who was launching the Apple Pay as first bank in Finland. So never done before in this market, and it was possible to complete only in 3 months time period. Scalability, I think, yes, the volume scalability is of course one of the key things that are coming as a benefit based on the cloud stuff. But yes, it is very kind of straightforward to widen the implementation of the service through the different geographies as well, because the cloud vendors are having the infrastructures ready across the globe, so we can move easily from a data center or the cloud data center to another, just to complement the global expansion in that sense. And yes, again, the scalability brings the innovation capabilities, and the cloud vendors, those are having high capabilities to innovate new services for everyone to use as well. And then, of course, last but not least, the security and the compliance. Actually, we are proud to say that we have been the first one in the world to get the PCI DSS level 1 for a public cloud-based implementation of the payment services. So that one is naturally on place as we are a service provider. And from the picture, you can see that actually the technology and the security is in a way at the bottom of the stack that we are building as a service for all of our customers, but then that is actually surrounding everything we do as a compliant and a secure service. Yes, there are other standards and regulations we are following. Of course, there is the GDPR and the PSD2 as the key factors, what needs to be in place in order to operate, and then the local FSA's requirements. So yes, we are qualified as a major outsourcing partner as well by the local FSAs. So all these nice things, security, scalability, and time to market are everyday present when we are doing the services based on the cloud implementation. So that's in brief what we are doing at Enfuce and how we can bring the services in a fast way to market. And now I would like to hand over to Julian so that he can take you further before you get the chance to ask your questions. So Julian, please.
Thank you, Mikko. It's very interesting to see how a cloud-native company like Enfuce has maximized the benefits of cloud and being able to build a competitive advantage around this using the Way4 solution from OpenWay. So what I would like to do now is share some of the challenges that are faced by other companies that are not in the position of Enfuce as going straight to cloud, but actually looking at how to migrate to the cloud from their current probably in-house or service provider. And I'd also like to focus on some of the benefits you might be missing out on if you delay, some of which have already been presented by Mikko. As Mikko has said, OpenWay and Enfuce worked together on this project in order to achieve their goal. And as a result, we recently received the Best Payment Solution in the Cloud Award from PayTech. This is not the first award for either company, but for OpenWay, this was our first award for a cloud solution and one that we were very pleased to receive. OpenWay as a company works with clients in many different payment domains, providing issuing, acquiring, switching, and digital services to banks, processors, national switches, telcos, PSPs, and startups. And nowadays, in addition to talking about the weather, which we all love to do, we now get to focus on clouds. Every conversation we have with any company, it is clear they are trying to develop a cloud strategy, as well as select their preferred cloud provider to leverage the benefits previously presented by Mikko. The good news is that if you're already a Way4 user, you can start the migration today. However, the migration does come with a few questions that we need to consider, such as, does moving to the cloud always mean a cost reduction? And does moving to the cloud offer savings on the infrastructure that you hope to achieve? Gartner have been looking into this, and I'd like to now talk through a couple of their findings. One of the first ones is that there are different kinds of costs that need to be considered when embarking on a migration to the cloud. Research has shown that companies generally start with a test system in the cloud, then progress onto a migration with a number of services in the cloud. And obviously, this initially is incurring additional cost. However, as the cloud utilization increases, they find they have more control of the costs, utilizing features such as capacity on demand, bringing up a test system when it's required, shutting it off when it's not needed, not paying for the expensive tin sitting in a data center, either on-premise or in another center. In addition, at the same time as migration was completed, the on-premise costs and the migration investments were zeroed, which then led to the substantial saving that is shown in this diagram of reducing TCO by 55%. Obviously, if you could switch overnight, that would be great. However, in reality, the best option to shorten the migration process, which can be achieved by relying on an experienced company who has expertise and a proven track record of achieving this. So obviously we need to look at how you can minimize some of these migration expenses, how you can start enjoying the lower TCO of the infrastructure almost immediately. And this is a question we get from many of our clients who come to us with their project cloud ideas to determine how they can actually look at doing a migration and generate some revenue and reduce costs right up front. As Mikko has already said, speed to market and scalability are strong advantages that are offered when using the cloud. To maximize these, you need a strategy that will allow you to monetize your goals as quickly as possible. If you run Way4, you can choose any cloud goal. You can launch greenfield products sitting beside your existing legacy infrastructure, putting it in the cloud. You can embark on projects for an IT refresh, refreshing the whole infrastructure and moving that to the cloud. Business diversification and new payment services are key goals that people have, and rather than spending costs on existing infrastructure, moving these to the clouds can really allow you to ensure some of these savings are matched. So really the idea is to leverage the cloud alongside your existing solutions, launch new services in the cloud rather than buying more tin to sit in the data center. Whatever cloud solution you may select, it will be able to host any Way4 solution that you require, whether it be issuing or acquiring services, adding multi-currency support or prepaid cards, digital services such as wallets, connecting and using real-time FX in cross-border transactions. Our clients can use Way4 in the cloud to launch all of these innovative products without going through a large migration. As a proven solution in multiple regions of the world, you can also consider how the cloud can actually help you extend your presence and actually understand how different country regulations of having data in country can be serviced by the different cloud providers. Here's a quick view of OpenWay's geographical reach. Today, our clients jointly process transactions initiated in more than 188 countries where payment processing is being powered by Way4. There are Way4 installations in 76 countries where our clients have offices. And as a team, OpenWay, which is headquartered in Belgium, has 23 offices and today more than 650 employees. With this reach, we are able to bring innovation proven in different markets and world regions, and whatever is done traditionally on-premise can be now done in the cloud by the means of Way4. So, a very important question that people struggle with is which cloud? Should it be Azure? Should it be AWS? Should it be Oracle? Way4 as a solution is cloud agnostic, and it allows our clients to choose the cloud provider which best suits their goals. For example, what we have seen is smaller businesses that may also want to have access to many apps at an ad hoc basis, prefer clouds such as Google or Amazon or Azure from Microsoft. Those organizations who target the enterprise niche generally consider Oracle Cloud because Oracle already operates in the enterprise niche itself, and it is particularly designed for high availability. When choosing a cloud provider, we advise our clients to measure their sizing and availability against their costs, and also to watch the SLAs being offered by the different cloud providers. This is because, as a matter of fact, not all cloud providers can provide SLAs. It is quite a contrast from the on-premise model where the SLA is provided directly by the hardware vendor. With cloud, this is not a given, and this must be carefully considered in the discussions that you have. When meeting with our clients and discussing their cloud projects, we outline 3 paths that are there for them to consider. In each case, they are able to leverage the best of Way4 capabilities, but some of the key points that we urge them to consider are the scope, the speed and time to market, and the level of control that they require over the environment. For organizations looking for an immediate launch, so some startups offering prepaid cards, for instance, one option is to outsource directly to someone who is already using Way4 in the cloud, like Enfuce. And with the service offering, Enfuce can supply BIN sponsorship and IPS connectivity, as well as Mikko said, PCI DSS compliance in a public cloud. Organizations that have strong technical teams who actually want to build cloud expertise may prefer to obtain a Way4 license and install and maintain our systems on their own in the cloud of their choice. The third option is between outsourcing and doing everything yourself, and allowing OpenWay to provide managed services that can then speed up the operation and the knowledge sharing of the Way4 platform. These services then free up your resources to focus on your business priorities. The services that OpenWay offer include data migration assistance, integration and testing support, certification and compliance assistance, and automation tools. So in summary, alongside Enfuce, OpenWay have deployed Way4 live into the Amazon public cloud. We allow you to select your preferred cloud provider to meet your specific business requirements, and we will support your project with experience and expertise in cloud deployment. If you're considering a cloud project, please speak to us and we would be happy to share more of our experiences. And at this point, I would like to hand back to Alex to review any questions that may have come through from you during the session. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you, Julian, very much. And yeah, I'd like to add that from PCM's perspective, we've been working with OpenWay for a long time, and when they talk about experience, I can validate that they do have an awful lot of experience in a lot of markets around the world. So no matter where you're based, I think they're definitely worth having the conversation with, as they've almost certainly performed some form of deployment in that market. And Mikko, thank you very much for going through and explaining your products and services and how you're trying to leverage them in your market. So not surprisingly, we do have a lot of questions. Just so you know, we won't read out who's asked the question. We can see who it is and what organizations you're from, and it's a private question and answer for obvious reasons. There are questions in here that we can't answer publicly, but they are all captured, and we have your names and addresses, and the guys from Enfuce and OpenWay will reach out to you privately once the session is over and respond to any questions. So let's start off with a reasonably easy one, I hope. So Julian, what is so special about your system? How is it possible to onboard banks so quickly and create card products so quickly? Okay, perhaps Julian can't hear me. Mikko, can you hear me?
Oh, apologies.
Yes, I do hear you.
Sorry, Alex.
Sorry, okay.
No,
So,
sorry.
Julian, did you catch the question?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Okay,
so, no, that's fine. So I think what makes Way4 unique and what enables us to onboard and products and create cards so quickly is that our approach is to deliver a number set of pre-configured products that can be easily modified by the client. This could be merchant acquiring with dynamic pricing or multi-currency card products. And this allows clients like Enfuce to onboard their clients and release new products much quicker by making some minor configuration changes to the set of standard products. And this is certainly the approach that we took with Enfuce that allowed us to actually complete the implementation of Way 4 in 3 to 4 months, and for them to then start offering the services to their clients.
Mika, have you from Enfuce's point of view, have you guys added a layer on top of anything, or I mean, do you have anything that you add to that question? Hello, Mika. Okay, Julian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, I think we'll move on. I'm not quite sure what's happened.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So sorry, I was mute. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just briefly. So I think Julian was spot on with the answer. So that with Way 4, it's easy to generate a kind of a standard templates that then can be kind of used to implement the best practices with different kinds of payment products. So those certainly are the ways to utilize the Enfuce as well.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. All right, so we'll move on. There's one that Julian, I know you mentioned there was a slide there on which cloud. Someone here is asking, does it work on the Alibaba cloud?
Yeah, that's a very good question. The clouds that we mentioned are ones that we have already done testing a proof of concept with. With Alibaba, we are in conversation with a number of prospects who are requesting support for this. We have not identified any issues in supporting Alibaba, but we are yet to commence a proof of concept with a client that is progressing.
Okay, and I think probably one for Mika here. Well, actually for both of you really, but we'll start with you, Mika. Do you find that the public cloud is secure enough for bank business?
Yes, absolutely. So the PCID as a certification is of course one thing to have on place when we are working there as a service provider in the card industry, but essentially thinking all the cloud vendors, the security is critical for them to stay in the business. So actually no one in the world is investing more on the security than the cloud vendors. So I think in that sense, it certainly is the most secure place to run your services.
Okay, Julian, anything to add?
Yes, I think what Mika has said and what Enfuce have proven is that it is undoubtedly secure enough for bank businesses. I think what is important for any organization looking at a cloud migration to consider for themselves are their own regulatory requirements in the countries where they are doing business. Different countries do have different laws around where data can reside at rest, and different cloud providers have come up with different solutions to overcome regulations like that and to meet those requirements where data at rest must reside within a specific country. So I think it definitely is ready for business, and there are companies that are now actively assisting improving the services offered by cloud by looking at how HSMs operate in the cloud and things like that. So all the conversations we have would say yes, it is secure and it's ready to be productized for bank business.
Excellent. Okay, thank you both. Okay, moving on. I think this is relating to the time frame in which you were able to get Enfuce up and running, and it says 7 days is great. Do you also provide scheme sponsorship into MasterCard or Visa?
Yes, that one is possible as well. We are working together with partners who will deliver that as a service as well.
Okay, and I think I've just noticed a different question, which is sort of, I believe, relates into this, and is it possible for a startup to start with small investments? I guess meaning, is it possible for me as a startup to start with a small budget? I'm guessing is what the question is referring to.
Yes, absolutely. So if I say just a few words first, so basically, yes, through the BIN sponsorship and the licensing sponsorship, so that then you don't need to have the organization in place in order to control those two things, as well as, of course, those two programs are rather costly to run initially before you get out into the market. So, yes, it's possible.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, if I can add to that, there's obviously two areas to look at with the costs and starting up. Is that the one real value add from the cloud is that you're not actually having to acquire a large infrastructure and scale it up to meet your predicted peak. You're able to, as I said, sort of almost do capacity on demand by scaling it up and down. So starting with a small system within the cloud is something that can definitely be achieved. And if it's looking at own license, OpenWay have models that we have now put in place to enable startups to embark with a Way4 license and implement a sort of fixed scope solution in a very quick timescale, also based in the cloud.
Okay, thank you. So we've talked a little bit about the security of the cloud itself. Let's just ask or hopefully get some answer to a question about the security of the payment. What about securitization between payments? Are you using something like tokenization to make payments? Are you using other security technologies to deliver or implement the payments?
So from a OpenWay perspective, operating a payment system in the cloud is using the same technologies, interfaces, rules and regulations as if it was being run from a data center. So where tokenized transactions are required coming from a merchant or something, yes, they will be done, but there are no specific changes to the security or the processing of the transaction, whether it's passing through a cloud infrastructure or not. Mika, I'm not sure if you have something you'd like to add on that.
Yes, I think exactly the same way of seeing the things, that basically operating the service in cloud doesn't bring any additional complexities to the payments securing or processing as such, so that basically the same connectivities to the schema networks and so forth are in place using the same standards as with the on-prem implementations.
Okay, thank you. There are, in fact, there are several questions with regarding the time to implement services, and in fact, it was one of the ones that occurred to me as we went through, and I think we've talked about 7 days here, and clearly that's a best case situation, but I would like to just go into a little bit more. Let's start with Julian here. But what helps to speed a project up, and what, on the converse side of that, what problems can arise that slow it down? I think a lot of people are interested in the ability to get a project up and launched in 7 days. So I think a little bit more flavor around how you were able to do that, and perhaps in other projects you've been involved with where it's taken more than 7 days, let's say, what has been what are the criteria for a delay?
Okay, so, thanks, Alex.
If I start from the Julian, please go ahead.
Okay, so I think the biggest risk in any project is scope creep. If you want to really achieve a project and the goal within a 7-day timescale, you must really protect and ensure that all parties are agreed on the scope and that there is no ability for scope creep. In addition, you need to adopt a agile approach to meet those requirements, and something that Enfuce and OpenWay did very well in our project together was an agile deployment methodology of actually providing updated configurations on a multi-day operation. So we were providing on some occasions sort of additional configurations 2 or 3 times a day. And with the cloud, you can actually implement those very quickly. And I think the other thing that is really key to launching a new service within this timescale actually comes down to the essence of the cloud, that the infrastructure is there and it is for you to utilize as much or as little of it as you require. And we look at clients and startups that have ideas, but it's very difficult to put any facts and figures down to what will be the take-up, what are the number of transactions going to be. And so as a processor and as a software vendor, trying to scale and scope for those kind of eventualities is very difficult if you have to have the tin physically on your site, whereas in the cloud you can, as I said during my slides, certainly in test environments you can run up new environments and close them down as you wish. So Miko, I'm sure you have some examples more specifically about some of the clients that you're onboarding. So
yes, so I would certainly say that those are absolutely the right and critical points, all that Julian was just listing and telling. So I think I would just add basically 1 or 2 things that, have a project or new service that's product implemented in 7 days time. It needs to be highly based on the kind of a standard / best practice way of doing the things. Because what I see typically in our customer projects creating the delays is the decision making. If you are having options to choose from, it will always take a while to come up with the decision. And in 7 days, you don't have time for that one. So you need to have kind of a clear vision. Yes, this one we will need to do as a business. And yes, this product is fulfilling those requirements. So we go with that. It's kind of seen as the best practice in the industry. So let's go and implement.
Okay, thank you, gents. So again, just trying to condense a number of questions which there have been around HSM. None of the cloud providers provide payments HSM today. What is Enfuce's solution to this as they are delivering a global service?
Yes, that's a good point and very, very good question. So essentially, in terms of the infrastructure, that's, I would say, still the unfortunate truth that the cloud vendors can't offer the necessary level of HSMs for this service. So we have solved that one in a way that we have the payment grade HSMs implemented in a co-location with our cloud vendor, so that those are there nearby, connected with the leased line to the cloud data center. So that's the way to solve that item for time being, as long as the cloud vendors can come up with the necessary level of HSM services.
Okay, Julian, anything to add?
Yeah, I would just like to obviously confirm what Miko has said, but also say that as of today, the interfaces to the schemes, the VAPs and the MIPS are not also available in the cloud. I know the schemes are looking into this. So essentially the solution, as Enfuce have done, is to work with your cloud provider, but have a location where you can position your HSM and also your scheme interfaces. But particularly on the HSMs, there are a number of companies which are working very hard to actually address the issue of HSMs in the cloud. So they're actually looking at utilizing Thales HSMs and providing that functionality to companies utilizing the cloud, so that it could soon be the case that you could use a hosted HSM from a third party in the cloud that is secure and meets the regulations.
Okay, thank you. That's very interesting. Let's go on to a little bit around. Hold on, it's been moved. Okay, let's talk about the way in which you operate between banks and merchants as a vendor. do you create an API to do that, or do you have a third party that you work with to create this kind of APIs? That's for Julian.
If that's for me, I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Okay, fine. I think basically they're saying that you have APIs. Are you, as OpenWay, creating them, or do you use a third party? And I think the answer is that you create them yourselves, but perhaps you'd like to just answer the...
Okay, so yeah, Way4 as a solution has probably more than 600 APIs available within it. So as a user of Way4 or as Enfuce as a client, there are APIs that can be provided to merchants or to card issuers, card holders to actually access some of their information via digital wallets or other mobile applications or through a merchant portal. So yes, APIs are supported to enable merchant communication and some merchant self-service.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm just having a quick flick through. I think we've answered the majority of the questions. I'm just making sure that I haven't missed any. Hold on. There's one here for Mika. You guys aren't a bank, so that's actually not relevant. Sorry, let me just try and find if there's anything else. Okay, I think we've talked a little about the timing. So I think, all in all, there are a number of questions outstanding. As I mentioned beforehand, it's my opinion that we've either answered them in one way or another through the questions we have, or they would be better served by a personal response. So please be satisfied that all of these questions will be captured, and the teams of OpenWay and Enfuce will be responding to you shortly. I'd like to reiterate my thanks to OpenWay and Enfuce for giving such an open and candid conversation around the products and services that they've launched. I'd like to thank everyone for joining, and again, the content of this webinar will be sent around to you all shortly, and if you have any further questions, then please feel free to reach out to us at PCM or at OpenWay or indeed to Enfuce. So from me, Julian and Mikko, thank you very much all for joining.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.